Tonight, the overflowing fallout from a water main break in Calgary. The long-rooted reasons for the rupture.
This is a ticking time bomb that Calgarians will continue to live with.
How residents are being urged to take action to conserve water.
Please walk it. Ayudeng!
A dream destination turns into a nightmare. The Peru train crash that injured multiple Canadians. And the surprises, standouts, and snubs.
It's something that I dreamt of as a kid.
Unveiling Canada's Olympic men's hockey team and the teenage sensation who cracked the squad.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina. Reporting tonight, John Venavali Rao.
Good evening. We begin this New Year's Eve with a major water main break in Calgary that disrupted travel and the lives of many residents and businesses on the last day of the year.
And it just kind of exploded. And as soon as it happened, we didn't really know what was happening in front of us. We just saw this massive water spout.
It happened late last night and caught drivers by surprise. A boil water advisory is now in effect, and residents are being asked to limit water use. CTV's Jacqueline Wilson has more on the road ahead.
Now that the gushing water has been shut off to this site, an assessment of the water main is underway.
This is a catastrophic break along the same feeder main that broke in June 2024, on which we made a series of repairs.
This section of broken pipe was installed in 1975 and carries about 60% of Calgary's water. The city says it was being monitored and all systems were working normally.
We have to fix the pipe, and until we completely replace the pipe, this is a ticking time bomb that Calgarians will continue to live with. One University of Calgary engineering associate professor says a lack of proper funding is causing major issues.
If you look over the last 50, 60 years, we've seen a decline in the amount of funding that's been allocated to municipalities for infrastructure from the federal and provincial governments, and that's across the board. What we need is a major infusion of federal and provincial dollars into our core infrastructure.
There is a boil water advisory for those who live in nearby Parkdale, Montgomery, Point McKay, and West Hillhurst. Even though some additional water is coming from the Glenmore treatment plant, Calgarians are being asked to follow Stage 4 water restrictions.
This means that outdoor water use, such as flooding rinks, snowmaking, or other large outdoor water use is currently prohibited in the city. Indoor facilities, such as pools, rinks, and recreation facilities are advised to implement their water reduction plans.
Surrounding cities like Airdrie, Chestermere, Strathmore, and Sutina are also being asked to conserve water.
Please limit your showers to 3 minutes. Flush toilets only when necessary. Run dishwashers and washing machines only when they're full.
City officials say they don't know how long repairs or any of the water restrictions will last, but by comparison, in 2024, it took several months. Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
After 3 full days without power, leaders of a Manitoba Cree First Nation are desperately calling for help.
We cannot wait till later on during the week to start ordering water pumps. We need more people to be sent out to come and help us out.
An estimated 5,300 people remain in the freezing community about 3 hours south of Thompson, with temperatures set to plunge in the coming days. The outage began Sunday when a power line failed. Manitoba Hydro has said they expect power to be restored by tomorrow evening. New Year's Eve celebrations in the city of Barrie, north of Toronto, have been canceled because of severe winter storms.
Thank goodness I have my snowblower. I don't know what to do without it.
Well, the cleanup is not fun, but the snow is so crazy.
As the dig out continues, the city scrapped a Kim Mitchell concert that was set to ring in the new year. The region is still under a snow squall alert with warnings of whiteout conditions. In the nearby township of Springwater, an emergency alert has been issued and several roads are closed. Crews have ventured out on snowmobiles to find stranded motorists. A warming center's been set up, and the winter wallop isn't finished.
And more precipitation, more snow. So we're going to see this continue. This is not over.
However, Dave Phillips says relief could be on the way, with the first 3 months of the year looking like they could be warmer than normal. New details tonight about the victim of a deadly shooting on a Saskatchewan First Nation as the manhunt continues for two suspects. CTV's Allison Bamford is tracking the story from Saskatoon. Allison, what's the latest?
John, RCMP haven't made any arrests and are still trying to identify the two armed suspects more than 24 hours after the fatal shooting. But we are learning more about the victim, a 31-year-old man. Larry Wapistaquan told CTV News that his son Neil was the one shot and killed yesterday morning on Big Island Lake, Cree Nation, 4 hours northwest of Saskatoon. The three others hurt in the shooting are recovering in hospital. Their injuries are serious but not life-threatening. Now we know the shooting took place outside on the reserve. It was dark out, and RCMP say that's why they don't know what the suspects were wearing, only that they were last seen on an ATV. The shooting triggered an emergency alert lasting 8 hours yesterday, later called off when RCMP determined there was no longer a risk to public safety, as no other incidents have been reported since the initial shooting. While RCMP are still investigating a motive, the chief of Big Island Lake is urging anyone with even the smallest of details to contact police. John?
Okay, Allison, thank you for that. To Peru now, where 7 Canadians were injured in a train crash that killed the driver and left 20 people in serious condition. The incident happened yesterday on the railway leading to Machu Picchu when two trains carrying tourists to the popular site crashed head-on. Images posted on social media showed people evacuating the damaged train and others being treated on the tracks. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says she's deeply saddened to hear of the collision and that global affairs officials are providing consular assistance to those impacted and are in close contact with local authorities. Russia has released video of what it says is a downed drone used by Ukraine to target President Vladimir Putin. Kyiv has strongly denied the allegations. And as CTV's Judy Trin reports, the incident is threatening fragile peace talks.
Russia's defense ministry is accusing Kyiv of launching a terrorist attack on Vladimir Putin's residence in Novgorod. The Kremlin says the attack was thoroughly planned and involved dozens of drones. Unconfirmed video of one drone that was shot down was shown on a giant screen. The footage was released 2 days after Putin called Donald Trump.
Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky denounced Putin's accusation as a lie. It came after his meeting with Trump on Sunday. Zelensky called it an attempt to scuttle peace negotiations. The U.S. NATO ambassador says independent verification is required.
Seems to me a little indelicate to be this close in a peace deal, Ukraine really wanting to get a peace deal done, and then to do something that would be viewed as reckless or not helpful.
The source of this destruction in Odessa is clear. 6 people, including 3 children, were injured. Russia is escalating attacks on urban areas, taking out the electricity grid. We're all stressed and at the limits of our strength, says this woman. In Vishharar, after 4 days of cold darkness, power and heat returned on New Year's Eve. From cafes to beauty salons, working is a daily act of defiance, says this owner. Work can be hell. If you add air raid alerts and night strikes, we get thrown off track, but we still try to hold on, at least a little.
In his New Year's address, Vladimir Putin reasserted his belief that Russia can win the war. NATO officials say approximately 25,000 Russian troops are being killed each month, yet Moscow is still able to replenish its ranks. John.
Okay, a grim statistic there. Judy, thank you. Stateside, U.S. President Donald Trump says he is removing National Guard troops from Chicago, Los Angeles, and Portland. On Truth Social, Trump did, however, predict they, quote, will come back perhaps in a much different and stronger form when crime begins to soar again, which he claims is only a question of time. The removal follows a U.S. Supreme Court ruling last week that found the president lacked the legal authority to use troops in Chicago for domestic law enforcement. In this country, police departments have been struggling of late to find new recruits, and now the force in Victoria, BC is temporarily turning to officers who'd retired, while also trying to attract a new generation. CTV's Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson reports.
I do solemnly swear that.
On the final day of 2025, Sean Millard is being sworn in as the newest police officer in BC's capital.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Not even a year after he retired.
To come back on the road, to do what I love doing, to work as a constable instead of a supervisor this time with junior members, I jumped at the chance.
The Victoria Police Department launched a new program in the fall to temporarily hire retired officers to fill staffing shortages. Departments across the country have struggled to recruit new officers.
25 years ago when I applied, we had 1,000 applicants for 28 positions.
Cop turned criminologist Dan Jones says police are still battling negative public perception after the 2020 killing of George Floyd that sparked the Defund the Police movement.
I can breathe. I think policing has hit a kind of an all-time low when it comes to police legitimacy. And that's where people see the police as kind of a occupying force at times, which is unfortunate because that's not what policing is.
Jones says recruitment campaigns also need to pivot and move past the traditional macho adventure-seeking image.
They still have helicopters and people jumping on boats and all the stuff that I never did. And I don't think 90% of police officers ever will. And I think they need to start looking at policing as a helping profession, a compassionate profession.
Victoria's chief is on the same page.
What we're looking to do here at Vic PD is tell the story of the people who work here and the real work that they do every single day.
Addressing work-life balance is another challenge as a new generation of officers who prioritize mental health hit the streets. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
In her year-end message to the country, the Governor-General has praised the ability of Canadians to come together during difficult times.
This past year, I witnessed extraordinary solidarity unfold across our country in the unity of communities affected by wildfires, in your unprecedented economic cooperation, and in the revitalization of Indigenous cultures and languages.
Everyone's out, everyone's full of New Year's resolutions and skating, and this is Ottawa at its best, Canada at its best.
Prime Minister Mark Carney hit the ice as the Rideau Canal opened in Ottawa today. In his New Year's message, he said Canada faced challenges in 2025 and that the country is strongest when it is united. One way to unite the country is through sport, and we now know who will be on the ice in February for Canada's men's hockey team at the Winter Olympics in Italy. For more on who made the cut and who didn't, here's CTV's Garrett Berry.
Montreal Canadiens captain Nick Suzuki was on the sidelines watching in February when his Canadian countrymen captured gold in the Four Nations face-off. He's not sitting out any longer. Suzuki was one of a handful of changes that Hockey Canada made to its top men's roster in preparation for the Olympic Games in Milan.
It means the world. It's something that I dreamt of as a kid, and to make it a reality now is an amazing feeling.
Joining him, breakout star Macklin Celebrini, a 19-year-old from North Vancouver, turning heads this year, competing for the NHL scoring title. With superstars Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid leading the way, Hockey Canada has created a very similar group to that Four Nations team. But there are a few notable subtractions. Travis Konechny, Seth Jarvis are off the team. So is reigning NHL playoff MVP and two-time Stanley Cup winner Sam Bennett.
And it's a big-time mistake from Hockey Canada not to have him on the roster. I don't know what else he would have to prove in his playing career to be on this team. I thought he was going to be a lock.
Other omissions: Winnipeg's Mark Scheifele and Chicago's Connor Bedard. Team GM Doug Armstrong said injuries were not a major factor for Bedard. There were just a lot of talented players and hard decisions to make. The Milan arena that's set to host these hockey events isn't quite complete yet. Testing on the ice is set to start on January 9th. Today, Hockey Canada executives said they were confident the arena would get completed in time for the games. John.
All right, good to hear. Garrett, thank you so much. Coming up.
It's never going to go away.
How to deal with heartbreaking grief over the holidays. For those who have lost loved ones, the holiday season can be a difficult time. CTV's Sarah Plowman on how one family touched by tragedy is coping and their message to others.
6-year-old Colton Cisco loved Christmas. His toy elf, time with family.
He loved lights and he loved going out, and everything was so magical.
The holidays have hurt the past 3 years. Colton died in July 2023, swept away during a flash flood in Nova Scotia.
I've learned that my grief is never going to shrink. It's never going to go away. In the holidays, it does get magnified.
Experts say grief can show up when you face the first of things, like birthdays or holidays.
So the first holiday without somebody, you can have a welling up of grief, even if the person passed away quite a while ago.
Kindness and compassion with yourself are key.
There's not something wrong with you if you're noticing waves of grief, even a while after somebody has passed away. It's a very normal part of grieving.
Out of loss came a new tradition for this family. A Christmas tree for Colton decked out in Spider-Man and popcorn ornaments, his favorites.
Colton has his own tree. He's here. It gives you that little bit of, he's not just here and around in spirit. He's here. We still think of him. We still celebrate him.
This mother has also learned on tough days, give yourself grace.
You just really have to give yourself your own permission to be like, okay, I've tried today and I'm going to take a rest.
A message for other families on coping when the holidays feel heavy. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Still ahead.
I remember something that had been lurking in the back of my brain for a very long time.
Queen Camilla opens up about a traumatic experience. Queen Camilla revealed today for the very first time that she was physically assaulted as a teenager.
I remember something that had been lurking in the back of my brain for a very long time, that when I was a teenager, I was attacked on a train, and I'd sort of forgotten about it, but I remember at the time being so angry. I was reading my book, and, this, man, attacked me, and I did fight back.
She made the comments on a British broadcast about violence against women. The year gone by has seen plenty of ups and downs for the Royals, from health news to family divisions, a visit to Canada, and controversy over a hat. With the Royal Year in Review, here's CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin.
In a year of royal diplomacy, a state visit to Canada was fit for the history books.
As we witness Canadians coming together in a renewed sense of national pride, unity and hope.
King Charles III delivered this pointed royal message in a speech from the throne.
As the anthem reminds us, the true north is indeed strong and free.
In other words, hands off the Commonwealth.
I am Canadian, and we have a king who is going to support us in a time of great need, so I'm here to support him as well.
Part of the king's handling of U.S. President Donald Trump, seemingly eyeing the realm with talk of annexing Canada.
Yep.
Good stuff. This in a year the royal family hoped would be bright after a punishing 2024, when both the king and the Princess of Wales, Catherine, revealed cancer diagnoses. The princess kicked off 2025 announcing she was in remission.
Stay still, okay?
She paid an emotional visit to the hospital where she was treated, meeting patients and thanking staff.
It was wonderful to see her coming in through the front door and with an official visit, and huge credit to her because it can't have been easy.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for being here today.
The princess also delivered her first public speech in nearly 2 years, speaking of a topic close to her heart, early childhood.
The love we feel in our earliest years fundamentally shapes who we become and how we thrive as adults.
She urged for more of a focus on time and tenderness rather than just profits and success. But divisions loomed over the House of Windsor. In October, the king stripped his brother of his final royal titles. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is no longer a prince, just a commoner now, after more revelations of his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
He was pushed when he should have actually put his hand up and said, yes, you know, I have done wrong.
Definitely a good thing that the royal family are taking accountability and acting on what's happened.
But behind the doors at Clarence House, there seemed to be some rapprochement when the king met with his son Harry for tea. This was a private meeting said to be the first father-son moment in nearly a year and a half.
How old are you now? I'm almost 102.
Prince Harry also landed in Canada, visiting at least 3 times this year, though he faced rebukes this fall for wearing an LA Dodgers hat during a World Series game against the Toronto Blue Jays.
I would like to apologise to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box, or the dugout, by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do. But I'm going to wear this from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those mistakes.
And it's on to 2026 for the royal family, and perhaps more moments like this. Prince Louis mocking his brother, the heir apparent to the British throne. Prince George was not amused. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News.
While still ahead, recognized for their incredible contributions. The familiar faces bestowed with Canada's highest honors. It is one of the country's highest honors, being named to the Order of Canada. And the Governor-General, who we heard from earlier, added 80 names to the list today, recognizing those who've made extraordinary contributions to the nation.
Here we are at Neptune Records, waiting for Tyler, the Creator.
Among them is Vancouver music journalist Nardwar, known for his interview style and big personality. Another is beloved children's songwriter and entertainer Raffi, being promoted to the companion level for outstanding achievement. Canadian athletes also made the cut, including 7-time Olympic medalist Andre DeGrasse and Ellie Black, one of Canada's most accomplished gymnasts. And we leave you tonight with some New Year's celebrations around the world as we ring in 2026. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching and have a happy New Year.